Hi everybody, today is November 28th, 2011, and I haven't recorded in a few nights because I have been extremely busy and a little bit overwhelmed, to be honest with you. I did do a very long 2-hour therapy session with Judd Brines last Friday, and it really kind of took a toll on my emotional outlook on a couple different things. And Saturday was particularly a really bad day, and I just was depressed and kind of just was really seeking out that comfort zone that I very often seek out. And what that means for me is, sweatpants, sweatshirt, don't leave the house, eat whatever's in sight, watch TV, just really typical bum day environment that I create for myself. And so that's exactly what I did, and I ate things I shouldn't have eaten, and I just pretty much did nothing. I did manage to go work out Saturday morning, but it was truly a lack of luster for everything involved. I struggled to get through the class, and I think even the instructors Saturday had noticed that I was really struggling because they kept asking me if I was okay, and I don't really think that I was. I really was dealing with a lot of stuff emotionally. And then once I went through the whole day Saturday just completely being relatively self-destructive for the day, I really didn't want to get on camera and tell everybody about it because I really felt bad about all of it. And then Sunday I kind of came out of it, and I spent about 2/3 of my day getting back on track, and then by this morning I was back to feeling motivated and happy again and ready to start getting back on track with things. So that's exactly what I did. And I went to work out, and I did some more critiquing on the menu items and the food consumption and all that stuff, because I was making some errors in that. And I felt like I was just eating all the time. And I know you're supposed to eat every 2 or 3 hours, but I was eating too much within that 2 to 3 hours. And I've just not felt right. So I reread a lot of the information that I was given, and then I also reached out to a couple people and asked some questions and figured out that I had made some relatively big errors in all of that. So I'm definitely going to do better with that now. In addition, it was mentioned to me today by one of the ladies at CORE that I shouldn't weigh myself at home because they did the weighing and they did the measuring me, my sizes and all that stuff. And it should be done, it should be done at a very specific time of day by the same person. And they have a really good schedule set up for me to get weighed and measured every 3 weeks. Because you gain muscle and you lose fat, and muscle weighs more than fat and all that jazz. So, I won't be doing any of my own weighing from this point forth, and I kind of I do agree with what she said, so I'm going to abide by that request. I will tell you that emotionally I have really been struggling, and I will do my best to work on that. I am now keeping a daily journal, even if I just write down a couple sentences to kind of talk about how I feel for that particular day, so I can kind of reflect. And of course I am keeping my food journal as well, so I have 2 little books. Could someone hand me the 2 little books so I can show everybody what they look like?
Ma'am, yes ma'am! Which one's that?
The 2 black books sitting right there, please.
This is really nice old journals.
Thank you very much. So these are what they look like. You can see that they're small, and I like that because they don't feel overwhelming. And this is my food journal. I keep a pen right inside, a small little pen, and I write down my breakfast, my snacks, my lunches, my afternoon snacks, and then my dinner. And I'm going to keep my calories between snacks and meals right around 2,000 calories, because I'm told that that's a good place to be, especially with as much as I'm working out. And then, of course, this is my daily journal, and I wrote down, I just started it yesterday, and it is real basic stuff in here. It talks about my feelings for the day, Some of the things that I put in here are like my goods and my bads and what I consider in my life right now, and to reflect on those lists. So it's kind of like a chore for me. It was also asked of me to define the reason why I was doing Project Me. And you'd think that would be a pretty simple answer, but it turned out that it was not. So, and I'm actually kind of still working on that. And I believe that the theory behind figuring out the answer to this is to really understand why I'm doing it, in the sense of what is keeping me grounded. What am I going to use to anchor onto at the end of the day? And it has to involve me, and pretty much me alone. I can't be doing this because of my kids or my husband or a job. I have to be doing it for a very personal, deep reason that I can go to when I am struggling. And I believe that that was the energy behind that question. So a lot of good things happened in therapy. It was a long 2 hours. My aunt went with me on the session, so that was pretty interesting and exciting. I did not record it because it was very, very personal. And we talked about a lot of stuff, including, past history issues with my mother and abuse and things like that. And some issues with my marriage and things like that that are very intimate and intense for me. So Judd had me do some drawing exercises and things like that. I will record, about a 10-minute blip of a session that will kind of describe what we're doing and why we're doing it. But I'm not going to get very personal, because I really don't want that to be heard by everybody in the world. That's very private stuff. But it does have a lot of bearing on why I have the issues that I have, and how I deal with life and my lack of ability to deal with it, in the sense of I obviously have weight problems and some other issues. So again, to incorporate, part of the project is to understand that this is, you just can't go lose 20 pounds. You can't just go lose 50 pounds and have your problems be fixed. You have to deal with everything. You have to deal with the emotional. You have to deal with the physical. You have to deal with the spiritual. You have a huge dynamic that's encompassed in this project, and dealing with all of those things. And I thought, man, I'm a strong person, I'm strong-willed, and I will be able to do this without even blinking an eye. And here we are, not even really a true 2 weeks in, and I'm already an emotional mess and dealing with things that I really was not truly prepared to deal with. So I will let you know that one adjustment I'm also going to make is that recording myself every night as a journal is a piece of cake, but getting it onto the computer and editing it and creating all of that so you can see it can sometimes cost me up to 2 to 3 hours a night, and that's not fair to my family. So if I can do it during the day when nobody's home, I will do it. If I cannot do that, then I am not going to do that. And I will guarantee that you will see me at least once to twice a week, but it will not be nightly any longer, just because it's so time consuming. I do have my journal that, like I mentioned, that I write in, so that'll kind of help me log my emotional feelings each day as well. Everybody really, the people that I came into contact with today really, really helped keep me on track, and I was very appreciative of that. Other than that, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving with my family, and we got to sit around the table and talk about all the things that we're grateful for, so that was a lot of fun. And I pretty much, after all of that, I don't have a lot more to say. So I hope that you all have a great evening, and I'll talk to you within a couple of days. Have a good night.